Hi, and welcome to another episode of Straight Out of Camera, proudly sponsored by Fujifilm South Africa. Joining me live in studio today is managing editor of techsmart.co.za, Mike Kuber. Mike, how are you doing?
Yes, Eslie, how are you?
I'm very well. Mike, I would like to chat to you about how easy it is these days using social media to actually engage with brands as a creative.
Yeah, I suppose, if you look at Instagram and the amount of photographers on there, obviously the brands are looking at Instagram at a high level when it comes to marketing. I was speaking to some of my students I have, and they are not on Facebook, they are not on Twitter, they are on Instagram and make use of that platform quite a lot. So if you think about brands actually willing to go the extra mile to advertise themselves on the platform, or utilizing photographers who have established themselves as either brand photographers or to actually pay them to shoot for their brand. That's what's done these days.
I've recently gone on a social media workshop, and it was quite interesting. They reckon that Facebook is not increasing; they're actually losing a lot of users, and that Snapchat is the next sort of thing to really push as a brand. I'm not too sure. I don't know. I don't even have Snapchat. Do you have any experience on it?
Well, Snapchat has been having a lot of difficulties because for the most part, that special thing that they had on Snapchat when it started was taken over by Instagram. You've got Instagram stories these days, where the videos are on there. So a lot of brands, I think, lost a little bit of confidence in Snapchat. They also had the redesign, which caused a lot of headaches. So I'm not too sure. I really think that the place to be is Instagram, and it's going to continue to be Instagram. Facebook perhaps not as much, especially now with the problems in regards to privacy. Also, I think it was a little bit of a swig. At the start, everybody started using Facebook, and brands too, building up this amazing amount of people that like the brand, and then asking, having to pay to actually reach these followers. So it feels like we were cheated almost. But here we go. Instagram is owned by Facebook, so who knows what's going to happen in the future.
It's always similar to what Vine was, and then all of the content creators for video on Vine then moved across to YouTube.
Yeah.
brandlive.co.za. Have you ever thought about the power of social media? Social media has the power to make your business grow. Yeah. Why don't you let us manage your social media? Because our business is to see your business grow. Visit us at www.bstownmedia.co.za. Have you ever thought about the power of social media? Social media has the power to make your business grow. Yeah. Why don't you let us manage your social media? Because our business is to see your business grow. Visit us at www.bstownmedia.co.za.
Our guest today here in the Straight Out of Camera podcast is Mpumelelo Marco. Mpumelelo hails from Joburg, where he's a very established graphic designer and photographer. As a graphic designer, he worked for Ogilvy and Huntless Cars and doing work for Woolies, while as a photographer, he's shooting Red Bull, Miller, Nike, and Adidas. Mpumelelo, welcome to the show.
Hey, what's up, guys?
So tell me, coming from a graphic design background and moving towards photography, how much did you need to learn about photography, training the eye, for example, with a little bit of a artistic graphic design background already?
I think I'd say that I didn't have to learn a lot because already, the fundamentals of the photography were already there from the design part of that side of things, right? So, your composition and rule of thirds, and that those are the kind of things that you basically work with when you're designing anything. So it wasn't that hard of a transition. It's pretty much works hand in hand.
Yeah, because you see photographers that can do you can see there's an artistic element to the photography, obviously. But then you also get certain photographers where hang on, there's something a little bit strange about this. It doesn't feel 100% right. And it sometimes feels to me that you have to be grounded a little bit, at least, with graphic design, or have a background studying art a little bit, perhaps. What do you think?
I think, I mean, like I said, the graphic design side of things really influence a lot of like the way that you see things, So, I mean, I speak for myself really. So, yeah, I think coming from a graphic design background and stuff, like it really helps because you are already working with like visuals from other photographers, So, I mean, you get a sense of the artistic side of things, and you have to take that and like run with it in terms of like creating layouts.
What is good and what is not good.
You know what I mean? So you learn that. And I think there's also a beauty in like breaking the rules, because I feel like if you break the rules, then your photography is not like stale. I mean, there's a really interesting side of it,
It's interesting that you say that, because you look at Instagram feeds and you can see very specific photos, people going for a specific look, but everybody goes for that look.
Yeah.
And it does become stale very quickly. So how do you kind of break the boundaries then?
I keep it natural.
Sorry?
I keep it very natural. Me saying that, I mean, a lot of the stuff that's going on Instagram right now is like everyone's going for like the one tone, like looking at 3 colors and breaking away like all of the other colors, and you have everyone's Instagram feed looking the same. I mean, with the Visco and all of these editing softwares that give away like presets and stuff, everyone's work looks the same. It's just shot by someone else, like someone different, but everything looks the same. So by saying that I keep everything natural is that I keep my colors the way that they are, and I feel like that will kind of breaks the whole thing of being another Instagram photographer, and mixing like all different styles with that as well,
Let's talk to us a little bit about your, growing up. Was there something that influenced you while you were growing up that has taken you into the direction that you are in now? Where I grew up, I grew up in Soweto, and there was a very well-known photographer that lived like just a couple of houses away from my house. He still works for Mail and Guardian now. His name is Opankosi, and he's like a photojournalist. And he was one of the guys that kind of sparked that interest in photography. Like I'd see this guy every day, like with a camera and stuff, and like open up newspapers, and you'll see like photo credits, and you're like, I know this guy. I grew up with this guy, Funny thing is that like we've never spoken about photography before. Okay.
And now that I'm doing a lot of the photography stuff, and we're both following each other on Instagram, like he sees that and he appreciates the work that I do. So it's kind of like, those are the things that have kind of like built me in
it's
a way.
A nice affirmation too, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And when I look at your social media feeds, especially on Instagram, there's a lot of off-camera flash lighting, and it's beautiful lighting. It's not like every sort of flash photography sort of thing. It's more of a strobist approach.
Yeah.
Can you maybe tell us how you started going into that sort of photography, and how many light setups do you use on a shoot, for example?
Okay, so I've always been interested in that kind of stuff. I've got a really there's a guy that I look up to. His name is Nick Fencher.
Okay.
And he does a lot of like strobing stuff. And I've been looking at this guy for a very long time. I feel like his style kind of like influenced me in a way. So taking a lot of so I shoot a lot of culture stuff and lifestyle stuff, right? So what happens with that is that I wanted to mix what I was already doing with a little bit of off-camera flash stuff, right? And that kind of took me in a really in a different direction. And then I did a Red Bull shoot not so long ago. We were at Mpumelelo, and we were doing this Red Bull Amapigo thing. So it's like a social entrepreneurial thing, and they look at like all of these social entrepreneurs and kind of give them like a course and stuff, and like how to run their businesses and that kind of stuff. Worked with a photographer called Luke Daniels. So me and him started at Red Bull like around the same time. And then we were both like messing around with the strobes and stuff there, and that kind of like took me in a different direction as well. So with that said, I love mixing like the culture stuff and like more natural stuff and add a little bit of like flash in there and make it seem different.
And it's all off-camera flash or are they studio lights?
I use a lot of I use speed lights. So I love cactus speed lights. Like fell in love with them like a long time ago. And now what I'll do is sometimes when I'm at a show, I'll shoot the stuff that they'll give me on a short list and stuff, and then I'll go off and do my own thing, try and create portraits on the side, where I love mixing, doing a lot of like high speed flash stuff.
Okay.
High speed sync, yeah, I love that kind of stuff. So what I will do is I'll carry a monopod, stick my flash in there, and then cactus receiver, and then I'll basically be like holding the monopod and just strobing. You know, sometimes it's bare flash. Sometimes I use Magmod's spheres.
Okay.
So it's different all the time. I mean, it depends on the kind of feel and where my mind is at that moment.
Do you have any advice for people who want to start off in high speed flash, high sync flash?
I'd say just figure it out. Like spend time with it. Like just look at, because I spent a lot of time on YouTube and stuff, like kind of learning stuff from there, looking at like what is available in terms of the speed lights, in terms of the flashes, what works with high speed sync, and yeah, I mean, I guess it's also every system is different. So, I mean, I went on the cactus side of things, whereas everyone else would go on a Kodak. So, you know what I mean? So, I fell in love. Like, I love traveling, so I keep my system really small. So, having like a speed light in my bag, having a monopod, and I carry a small camera bag. So, it's all about like what you're trying to achieve. You know, I feel like you have to know what you're trying to achieve, and with that, then that can determine the kind of equipment that you need.
So working with big clients like Adidas and Nike, what do you need to know going into a shoot?
I think so. The one thing that I normally do when going into shoot with like those big brands is like trying to understand the brand's essence, trying to understand their visual language. So that's where the graphic design kind of comes in, you know, where everything kind of has to feel like it's from that brand, you know, even though like you'll bring in your creative edge to it, but everything kind of has to feel like it's on brand. So I spend a lot of time with the brand, like looking at the brands, looking at the stuff that they've done before, and trying to find a gap where I can put in my creative input into that and create something different, you know. So that's my approach in most cases.
Some of the photographers that we've spoke to in the past who do a lot of commercial shoots talk about the fact that at some stage they need something else to refill their creative energy, meaning that they have to work on projects of their own to kind of juice them up again. Do you have any personal projects that you are working on?
I'm actually very bad with that. Like I've got ideas that I've been sitting on for like a couple of years and stuff. It's just like juggling the graphic design and the photography. I really don't have time for it. So I try and make and create my own stuff within the job. So you'll find like when I was shooting a Red Bull Music Festival about a week or two ago, I'll start going off and like doing portraits and stuff, and start doing my own kind of personal work in between, and then that gives me that, you know, that creative satisfaction, you know. That so it's that really. It's just finding time, you know. Like it's really hard to find time.
Do you follow anyone on Instagram that you find inspiring?
I do. I've got a lot of people that I follow on Instagram that are inspiring, and a lot of them are actually my peers, and a lot of them are like friends and stuff. I love Andile Buga. He's like amazing. He does film stuff, and I've been a fan of his work for a long time, and he's a friend of mine. So I love how he sees things, and I love how he captures people.
It does seem like there's been a bit of an explosion happening in South Africa on the photography scene the past, say, 2-3 years, where there's a lot of up and coming photographers using Instagram to build their brand and just going out there and shooting.
Yeah, no, definitely. Instagram has helped a lot of like people out. You know, a lot of people don't even have websites anymore. They use Instagram as a form of showcasing their work and using that as your portfolio.
Have you done it?
What, the site or
no? Using Instagram as a marketing tool.
Yeah, I mean, I basically use that as my marketing tool. I've got a website and stuff, but I use my Instagram to push a lot of like the recent work, just to showcase a little bit of diversity as well in terms of the work that I do. Because I can't really say that I stick to a certain genre of photography.
Yeah.
You know, so I move around a lot, and I do like food, I'll do sports, I'll do whatever. Like it's like, yeah. I just love taking photos.
Okay. Mpumelelo, I'm on your Instagram feed now, and I can see from a sort of marketing angle, all these images are high quality professional. And I see you were at Viraga Nights that was sponsored by Red Bull, and it's low light images. Is there any tips you've got for photographers wanting to shoot low light images, especially with a mirrorless system?
So I think the one thing that with low light in general is this is not even just a mirrorless thing. It's just finding like fast lenses that would give you a lot of light in terms of like, you know, shooting nighttime and stuff. So with all of the events that I shoot on. I mean, I've got like different lenses and stuff, but I normally stick to my 35 1.4.
Yeah.
And shoot it right at 1.4. Like open it up, and so you always want to balance out your aperture to your ISO, right? Yeah. So try not to push it too far. Like sometimes I'm actually even scared. Like I know, I use the XT2, and I'm even scared to push it over like 3000, like, you know, with the ISO. But it's always nice to find the right equipment for the right for a right job, you know. So looking at fast lenses, those are the things that will help you out a lot, you know. So you need to, so with events, because I use a lot of low light at events and stuff. So in most cases, you're not allowed to use strobes and flashes and stuff when you're shooting like stage stuff. So you need like a fast lens that will definitely help you out.
Is there any special projects that you'll be working on the next couple of months?
So I've got, like I said, like I do a lot of stuff, so I do different stuff all the time. So I've got a couple of events coming through in the next week, and then I'm traveling, and I've got a travel agency clients that I'm working on.
Where are you going to?
I'm going to Drakensberg. So going to Drakensberg, I have to just document. There's a hotel that they're trying to push. So we need to like create like artwork and stuff for that, collateral for that. So I'll be shooting that. Really, really interested in doing that type of stuff. So everything that I do, I feel like fits into my life and how I see things. So trying to break away from, there's a stigma about cool kids and stuff and Facebook, like an Instagram and that kind of vibe. So being part of that scene, like while it started off, and so trying to break away from that cool kid thing and like really showing like how I see things.
But it's not just that, it's the fact that you are traveling locally. A lot of people just think of traveling is something that's abroad.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's so many beautiful little towns in South Africa. I've recently gone to New Bethesda in the Eastern Cape. Dude, they make the most beautiful cheese platters from a goat that you can see.
That's crazy.
But we don't know this, you know. So it's incredible to go and visit these unique places and promote them, because I don't think we care enough for these smaller towns. And I mean, the unemployment rate in New Bethesda is 95%. It's crazy, but there's now an opportunity for you to go and visit because someone was there that saw the beauty.
Yeah, I think we have a beautiful country, and like a lot of people don't actually take the time to appreciate what we have. And I mean, I've been traveling a lot lately. Like my wife is into like travel stuff as well, like, and that's how we've got this travel agency company that we're working with. So we travel around like a lot, like, and we do hartis every now and then, like try and document. So I've been trying to get into video as well. So we'll do like little travel videos and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's always awesome to just like see what's like behind, like that's right there. Like, like I mean, like South Africa's big enough for you to travel. Like,
For sure.
I mean, it's always nice and stuff. You think, oh yeah, I'll go overseas. I'll do like the Tokyos and whatever. But we've got all of that stuff here.
If you want to
It's
go
just finding
overseas,
it.
if you want to go overseas, it's 4 hours to Swazi.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
know?
Yeah,
Well,
that's
they've
a-
got a new name now.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the new name for Swaziland is. But anyways, just quickly chatting about the fact that, you know, you've got your Instagram feed. It contains a lot of portraiture,
Yes.
which means approaching people out of the cold and asking, can I take a photo? Now, for many photographers, that's actually quite a daunting prospect. How do you get over yourself? And then do you have any tips for people wanting to approach people to photograph?
It's actually it's very strange because I also struggle with it a little bit, but I always try and find like you can see somebody who's like approachable, you know.
Ah.
I feel like you can see somebody who's approachable, even just like walking past them. They'll give you a smile, they'll look at you, they'll acknowledge you, you know. And I think it's just as simple as just going up to the person and be like, hey, I think you're interesting. Do you mind if I take a photo of you? And if they say no, it's fine. You know, I mean, you'll find something else. Like, but in most cases, you'll find that people actually want take like photos taken of them. So, yeah,
I think it's a challenge because that rejection could be also a negative for the person asking the question,
Yeah.
and then prohibits him from asking the next person.
yeah,
Yeah.
I once at a festival, I stepped up to a person to photograph and didn't ask the question, can I photograph you? And that person rebuked me and saying, you know, at least just ask
Just
beforehand
ask, yeah.
and say, you know, can I take your picture? And most of the time they will actually say, yeah, no problem.
I think that's something, especially with the little Instax printers that we have now available. If you could present them with a little image as a thank you.
as an incentive
Yeah.
or as like a thank you.
So
and stuff
when I
like-
go Joburg CBD, I have my Instax printer on me because I know that
Yeah.
they're going to reject me anyway. So
Yeah.
I can take a picture and give you one. It
Yeah.
works
Yeah.
well like that,
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, like looking at stuff like that. I mean, you can shoot like take a photo without asking, give them the print, and then ask for a photo.
Yes.
Like, oh yeah, I can do a proper photo for you and print it out
There
for
we
you.
go. I
So,
think
you
it's a
know?
way you apply
So
it.
yeah. Like I think it's you shouldn't overthink it. Like that's the one thing that we kind of struggle with in terms of approaching people. You overthink it. Oh, what if I get like rejected? Like, does it mean I don't know? You know, you always feel uncomfortable about that. But it's just easy to just go up to somebody. You can even strike a conversation and be like, oh yeah, I think you're interesting. I love your hair. I love how you've like done that with your hair. So, do you mind if I take a photo of you? I can show it to you. I can send it to you. The beautiful thing about having, the app, the Fuji app on your phone, I could simply say to someone, okay, can I please take a photo of you? Do you mind? I can send it to you right now. A lot of people actually want that instant thing. They want to have that photo right now. So I can just send it off my phone, send it to them, and then we're both happy. I've got a portrait and they have something they can post on Facebook.
Yeah, there's a great story from Larry Clark. He shot the photo book Tulsa and he did the movie Kids, where he did inner city projects photographing kids, and he once took this amazing picture of this kind of like young boy living on the streets, and afterwards he went to the trouble of going to print this amazing photograph, one special frame from Larry Clark, and the boy had a look at the picture and said, oh, thank you very much, folded it up in his back pocket.
Oh, my.
Most probably worth thousands
Yeah.
these days.
Yeah.
Mpumelelo. Where do you find you on social media and on the internet?
So it's Mpumelelo Matsu. That's MPUMELELOMACU, and that's me across the board. And I've got a website, mpumelelomatsu.com. That's where I put up all of my work in there. But most of the work goes on Instagram.
Awesome.
You know, it's easier to upload. It's easier to update an Instagram account than updating a website.
Awesome. Mpumelelo, thank you for joining us in the Straight Out of Camera podcast studio. And geez, dude, you've got such a great work. You're super humble and we appreciate your time. Thank you so
guys.
much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Cheers.
Nice one.
Guess who got brands talking? Brandlive.co.za